How much more be there for you?
Doesn't matter. Whatever y'all want to do, I don't care. Emily's sleepy too. She wants a nap. Did you bring your blankie?
All she likes to do now, just like a little cat.
She's probably got a read.
Hopefully you will not be napping in my class.
I'll turn the machine off.
All right. Boy, Ted lost a tough one Saturday.
Yeah.
I couldn't stay awake and watch it. I was too whooped.
I couldn't either. But anyway, I will, on a good note though, on football, my high school alma mater, Richland Group 2A, won their semifinal. So Saturday they played the state tournament. And it was a nail biter of a game. I listened to it on the radio. They played Stewart's Draft.
Mm-hmm.
Where is that?
It's about 2/3 the way up the valley. Stewart's Draft is to the right of 81, into Warrenton, south of Warrenton, between Warrenton and Stanton, basically.
Okay.
We used to have truckers that would be in line to pick up apples from us, and they would go to Stewart's Draft instead of Stewart and call and want to know where we were, and generally they were about 3.5 hours away, and they would really get irrigated.
I bet.
So
anyway, they play I think they play Appomattox Saturday. But
at Stewart's Draft? Oh, okay.
No, Richlands.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Richlands beat Stewart's Draft in the final minutes of the game. Stewart's Draft was ahead by 7 points, and I think there was like less than a minute or maybe 2 minutes to go. Richlands goes down there, scores a touchdown, and I don't know, there was just
3 or 4
maybe
points.
like 30 seconds left.
Megan's grinning. She's gonna get 5.
They called a timeout, right? And I guess the other team went ahead and put their defense out on the field to block the kick. And Richlands went out there with their regular offense and threw a 2-point conversion pass and won it. So they went for broke. They were either going to win it or lose it. They weren't going to go for the tie. I thought that was a pretty gutsy move to Coach Page.
Yeah, they kicked our butt.
Really?
Mm-hmm. There's some big fellas.
All right.
Where Richland?
Southside and Keysville.
They're coal miners.
That's the longest bus ride ever.
Is Southside and Keysville and South Boston with us?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, a couple things before we get started. I was going over the grades, grading your quizzes, and got all those graded. There is a couple out there that did not finish the quiz. It was like a spot on my end of it. They didn't finish it. And I noticed there was 1 or 2 people in that chapter 13, that first quiz we did, had the same issue. They didn't finish the quiz. So what I did, guys, I'm being really nice. Your Christmas came early.
We can't hear you.
I made those 2 quizzes available until tonight. So if you did not take them or you did not finish it, go back, finish it, or take it, because it will go off tonight at 11:30. That's your final chance. take those quizzes. The
I
second
wanted-
thing, what's that?
I wanted to point something out. I don't know if this is happening to anyone else, but when I take the quizzes, when I keep typing on one of the answers, it automatically moves to the next question's answer. So I kind of ended up typing on there, but I tried to fix it out as much as I could, but it was that way on the last quiz too.
I just typed it on Word and copy and pasted it.
It may be an issue with Blackboard where it limits the number of characters that you can put in there in a given spot. So when you max it out, it goes to the next one.
All right.
I don't know, but like Dan says, what he's done is he's answered it in a Word document, and then he attached the Word document to Dwayne's response.
All right.
This Blackboard thing it's a tool, but it's squirrely. I mean, some of it just doesn't work well. So.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works great, sometimes it don't, and sometimes it's my fault. I appreciate your guys' patience throughout the semester. We're all spread out on a bunch of different campuses. It's a tool that I use a lot. That and I was trying to put together an exam, a final exam, and what I thought I would do, again, guys, I'm being nice. I was looking over the grades. Just about everybody completed their ration balancing assignment. And so I will put a ration balancing problem on the exam. Since everybody did that, everybody did fairly well on it. I will put that on the exam. So bring your calculators because you will have a ration balancing assignment.
And prefer a calculator rather than a cell phone.
Yeah, do not use a cell phone. Okay? Use your calculator.
Could you post some more practice problems of those, please? Yes, please. Or maybe one at least.
Or the actual.
Or would you mind going over it again? Because I feel like I learn it better if I practice.
Take it off.
You're right.
Please.
The more you do it, the better you get.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah, I'm the same way.
all right. So what we will do, what we can do on Thursday is work through that homework problem. In fact, I will let you guys work it, and I'll just write down what y'all tell me to write down. Okay? So remind me Thursday, and that's what we will go over that homework problem.
I'm going home to make it.
Make sure
How-
everybody.
Wait, I'm with you.
How big is this exam going to be? Just wondering.
It's comprehensive. Okay. It will be comprehensive, with the majority of the emphasis being from our last exam up. So from anatomy and physiology through reproduction is going to be the majority of the points on the exam. I do have to have it comprehensive because of the way our college is, or the rules they require. So the previous things that we've had, the previous two exams, I'm not going to try to trick you up on that. They are probably going to be questions you've seen before. So if it was me studying for this exam, I would study my previous exams. I would know how to do the ration balancing assignment that we did. I would know how to do the ration balancing problem we did in class. And because I will give you a problem very similar to one of those. I'm not going to make it difficult. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm just going to have two ingredients. I ain't going. So, you're not going to have to worry about trying to do like we did in that example in class with the 3 ingredients. I would know my hormones, the reproduction, where they originate from, and what they do. I would know the different systems in the body, like the digestive system and what's the purpose, and the bones, the skeletal system, and what makes those unique. Know a little bit about genetics. Probably you'll see some of the questions from the quizzes. We'll do a review on Thursday as well as that problem. And we may do some of that today. Today or the other day in class, I don't really want to go over anything new, so I just told you I'd talk about some real life stuff when dealing with animals. Now, when you have animals, now I'm just going to flat out be honest with you. This is going to be brutal. It's going to sound like I'm heartless, but it's just a fact of life. If you have them, you're going to lose them. Okay? At some point, they're going to die. Whether they get sick and die, whether they get old and die, whether they get involved in a freak accident and die, they will die. So if you don't want to lose any animals, do not have them. I'm not trying to be mean or heartless or whatever. It's just the way it is. Okay? So one thing I've noticed throughout the years, and maybe it was because, how I was raised, we had dogs, horses. I started buying cattle, dealing with cattle when I was in high school. My dad was an accountant. When I got into cattle and Dad was up there helping me one day, he said, if my daddy saw me now, he'd yell those in his grave. And that kind of tells you what my dad thinks about working cattle. He did it to support me, but it sure wasn't his favorite thing to do. So anyway, it's just one of those things that'll happen. You will lose it. And it could just be what happened to me this weekend. I had a calf get out. I don't know if I'll ever see him again. I don't know where he's at. He jumped the fence and kept on going. I don't know where he's at. That's a lot of money running around. But those things happen. I've been hunting for him 2 days now. He got out Sunday. He was there Sunday morning, came back from church, and he was gone. The others were still with him. That's what bothers me. You think they'd have all gotten out and followed him. But they didn't. So he got out on his own somewhere. That's why I think he jumped the fence.
How old was he?
He's about 4 weight, about 400 pounds. The guy, I'm training a horse for this guy, and he wants me to get him started on cattle, so he brought me some calves down Saturday and picked them out in the pasture. And I called him, I said, bring 3 calves or 4? He said, well, I brought 4. I said, there's only 3 here. So he described what it looked like. And I said, they are weaned, right? And he goes, no, I just pulled them off their mothers. I'm like, crap. Well, anyway, I got the remaining 3 in a small lot. I hope they don't get out. They're walking the fence with the mama.
How'd it
Where
taste,
the other
Wayne?
one is, I have no clue. What's that, John?
I said, how'd it taste?
I haven't eaten it yet.
Dwayne, you said you ride horses, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you ride Western?
You've been on Facebook, ain't you?
No, I was just asking.
Yeah, mainly. I got this horse in that I'm riding for these people, and it's an Appaloosa. He's a 10-year-old stud, and they've shown him in Hunter Under Saddle and Western Pleasure and Halter, and he hadn't been shown the road in a few years, and they want me to promote him. So their goal is for me to qualify him for the Appaloosa World Show in as many different events as I can, so they can go after it's called the Iron Horse, but it's the same thing as the Super Horse all around. And so I've got some points on him right now in ranch class, the ranch horse and ranch Western Pleasure. And I got a half a point on him in Hunter Under Saddle. So yes, I am learning how to ride English. The tight pants and the helmet and all that jazz.
I'm so sorry.
I know. It's a whole different ball game. I'm having to teach him how to jump, so I'm having to learn how to jump on purpose and teach a horse how to jump on purpose. And teaching him some reining maneuvers. Hopefully we'll get him in some reining classes and working cow horse classes. So that's kind of our goal for him. But anyway, you will lose your animal. And I think one thing, I took a dog, my wife's dog to the vet. All right. And I think she summed it up best. She said she looked at the dog and started talking to the dog like it was a human. And she says, "Daddy's right here." And I looked at her and I said, "I'm not that dog's daddy. I'm its owner." She looked at me kind of funny. She goes, "Oh yeah, I forgot." And then she laughed and she said, "You know, I can always tell people from the country versus the city, because people from the country look at their dogs as, you know, a tool or a pet. They're an owner. People from the city look at it as their kids." So
Yeah, why do people think that they're their mama or daddy to their dog?
oh, my wife's that way. I know. I found my wife is that way. A dog is a dog to me. The vet bill.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But anyway, that's another ball game. But I love my wife, and my wife loves dogs. So I like dogs. I think a good dog, it's hard to beat. Sorry, dog. Sorry. So anyway, so as you get in the animal industry, you know, I know when you finish this program, you know, if you haven't been raised on a farm, you know, you're probably, if you get a job as a manager, it's going to be so overwhelming you're not going to know which way to turn. Okay? So don't be afraid, you know, start out low man on the totem pole, work your way up. Do not be afraid to pay for an education, whether it's through experience or through a formal education. You know, it's learning on other people's animals is a lot cheaper than trying to learn on your own and making costly mistakes. I know that sounds mean, but you know, I worked on farms throughout college. When I got out of college, I took a manager position, and I learned a lot. I made a lot of mistakes, and I'm glad I did not own those cattle. You know, through my learning, and I didn't make anything real drastic, real bad, but you know, it was somebody else's money. You know, you lose a cow, calving or something. At least it wasn't my own personal cow, you know, in my own pocketbook. But because you're going to lose them calving, you're going to lose them due to sickness or whatever. I was trying to think of some real life stuff, you know. You know, I know some of you guys have experience with cattle and livestock, and hopefully what we learned in class this semester helps you understand why we do what we do. You know, synchronized and artificial inseminate your cows. I hope you know why we use the drugs that we use now and how they work. And so that hopefully will make you more conscious and more meticulous to be able to do a better job. You know how to balance rations. So you can go take your feed samples, sample your hay, and then balance your ration accordingly for your cattle. You know about the 4 different stages of production. We talked about that. The first 3 months after calving, 3 to 6 months, 6 to 9 months, 9 to 12, and how those nutritional requirements vary during those different times. So, you know, I personally would have my cattle on a tight calving schedule so that all my cows are in the same stage of production, and I can it make my life a lot easier. You know, so I have, you know, they're all in the same stage of production, so it make it easier for me to be vaccinating the whole night and marking my calves. What specific questions do you guys have? Or how do you want me to approach the rest of this time?
One thing I know that just from being around us doing stuff with bulls all the time, like we had a sale Friday and we have a catalog, and with each bull it has their lot number and their sire and their dam and everything, and then it's got like their EPDs, and I want to be able to learn how to read those.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay. Let's go over that a little bit here. Let me get back over here where I was lost. Let me see if I have it. Okay. Let me pull up another document here, and we'll talk a little bit about EPDs. See if I have. I'm trying to see if I have a PowerPoint on that. But it make it a little bit easier.
Hey, John, I have a question for you while he's working on that. We have a friend that has something taking over his pasture.
It's golden something, and it's growing, and he wants to know how to get rid of it.
What can he?
That's a problem weed. What it's going to, I think it will respond to 2,4-D or Banville.
Or what?
Banville, Banval. but it's not the time of year to do it. Needs to do it in the spring as that stuff begins to come up. And what 2,4-D, you got to be careful with 2,4-D. Make sure it doesn't drift over into somebody else's roses or grapes or things of that type. Danny's up here laughing at me, but
He's got pretty big.
yeah.
Big spread.
But that's a problem weed, and it's showing up all over the place. And I think it was brought in by some of this cheap feed commodities that have been fed. There's a guy down near us that's selling a bunch of this cheap feed, and he's bringing that weed seeds in with that stuff. And it's even in people's lawns. Okay, it'll grow about that high a little bit, and cows won't eat it. And it's a yellow weed that'll bloom about late May, early June. And I don't know what it's called.
Okay.
But I do know what you're talking about. And Danny's laughed at me. So.
Chainsaw or remedy?
Huh?
Kill the neighbor's garden.
Remedy. And you can also cut them down. Okay. Let's talk about EPDs a second. Now, one of the quiz questions, and you'll probably see this on the exam, is we talked about phenotype, genotype, quantitative, qualitative genetics. So let's just hit this one more time. The phenotype is determined completely by the genetic makeup. The genotype is the genetic makeup of the phenotype is what we see. So like, let's use the example of horns in cattle. If a cow is horned, it carries a recessive gene. If it's the pole gene is a dominant. Okay, so if we see a cow that does not have horns, the phenotype is that it is polled, correct? The genotype could be the two dominant genes for polled, or it could be a dominant gene for polled and the recessive gene for horns. We don't know without a genetic test. Okay? Whereas if we see a horned cow, we know the genotype is going to be the little p, the two recessive genes which is expressed. In the phenotype, we see it has horns. So that's the difference between phenotype and genotype. Phenotype is what we see. Genotype is the genetic makeup. Quantitative traits. They're traits that are influenced by very few gene pairs. Again, the pole versus horn is an example of that. There's a distinct difference in phenotype and quantitative traits are influenced by very few genes. Qualitative traits are influenced by many genes. Okay, so we're looking at growth, milk production, things for that. And they can be influenced by the environment. So when we're breeding animals, when we're choosing animals to breed, that we're choosing a bull, ideally, we want to pick out the bull with the best genetics, the genetically superior animals, correct? Y'all agree with that? All right, so if I go out in the field and I'm looking at a bunch of years, say we go to Red House, say we all all went to that red house sale, and we're looking at a pen of bulls. Okay, we're looking at a pen of Angus bulls. They're all about the same age. They all look very similar. They look structurally correct, adequate muscle. Weight, the weight's very similar. How do we pick out which one is going to be genetically superior, or which one has a genetic traits that we want to take back to the herd? Can you tell that alone just by looking? No, you can't. So what are we going to look at? Okay, we're going to start looking at records, right? We're going to start looking at what's their performance rate. What they weigh at birth, what they weigh at weaning, what they weigh, as yearless. What have their brothers and sisters done? What were their what were their weights? Data on that. And you're going to look at what the parents have done, maybe, and the grandparents. The thing that we really need to do, guys, is keep records on our cattle. We need to know. We need to identify our cattle. Keep basic records so that we can select out our higher performing animals. Now, we do know that the environment plays a role. They can have the best genetics there is, but if they're not fed properly, they're not going to reach their genetic potential, correct? Or if they get sick, that's going to affect them reaching their genetic potential in a certain amount of time. Weather can affect it. Too hot, too cold, too snowy. It's hard to make comparisons, especially when you're looking at cattle from different farms, because the management's different, right? The way you guys manage your cattle, the way I manage mine, may be completely different. They're going to have two different environments from Southside Virginia to Southwestern Virginia, let alone from Virginia to California, Virginia to Texas. So how do we try to identify these superior animals? And one of the tools that we have are EPDs. And EPD stands for expected progeny difference. Okay? And they're to be used within a breed. You can compare Angus to Angus, Simmental to Simmental, Hereford to Hereford. If you go to compare Hereford to Angus or Hereford to Simmental, then you're going to have a conversion chart to do some math. Okay? Breeds or EPDs aren't meant to be used across breeds. You're going to have to do some conversions. But they are used within breeds. And the way they figure some of the stuff they bring into account, or they take, to calculate an expected progeny difference, are all these weights we just talked about: weaning weight, birth weight, yearling weight. They look at their performance of their sire, the performance of their offspring. They look at performance of half siblings or performance of full siblings. And the more numbers that are out, they look at performance from their offspring. So you take a bull, that Red House sold a lot of yearling bulls, and on those EPDs, those accuracies were really low. Uh, Accuracy, it's just it's a tool. It kind of tells us how accurate we are with that EPD. EPDs change. Okay, the more numbers you get out there, the more and the lower the accuracy, the higher that EPD can change. So if you take a yearling bull who has an excellent growth, say excellent yearling weight, but low accuracy, as he starts producing calves, that may not that yearling weight can increase or it can decrease, and it can decrease, and it can be a pretty significant value. Whereas if you take an older bull with an accuracy of 90%, uh, that EPD is not going to change much. He's got a lot of babies out there, and it's been time tested across different environments, and they're going to be pretty accurate. So EPDs help us to take out some of that gas. They take in all the account of these records. And so what we want to do as producers when we're choosing our breeding stock, ideally, if we're choosing bulls, we want to take out, or we want to try to limit the differences between bulls due to the environment. And we just want to try to look at their true genetic differences. Okay? Does that make sense to you guys? And EPDs is a tool that allows us. It's not the best thing out there, but it's the best thing. Well, it's not perfect, but it's the best thing we've got. Okay. So a couple terms you'll need to know. One is contemporaries. Contemporaries are calves that are born in a similar time frame. They're raised together and they're treated alike. And contemporary information is important because it's used in figuring out. Like, if you're testing a bull's lean weight, or you're working, or they're figuring out lean weight on a bull, one of the things they'll do, they'll breed that bull through artificial insemination. They'll take his semen, and they'll breed him with several different cows, in different herds. When I worked at Stewart Land Cattle Company, we were involved a lot in trying to prove bulls for select sires. So we got a lot of semen free. And we bred our cows. We breed part of the cows to these young, unproven bulls, and we breed another, part of those cows to proven bulls. And we did, I think we got so much of the good semen if we bred so many bulls. But because we had such large number of cows and they were raised in a similar environment, those calves, and were managed very similarly, it really helped in these computations for the bulls and EPDs. So EPDs allow us to compare two bulls of the same breed, but raised in different environments and under different health and nutritional programs. And they're reported in units like pounds. Scrotal circumference is reported in centimeters. But when you're talking about weight, it's reported in pounds. As I said, they're for within breed comparisons, and they do change. The more data we get, the more they can change. If it's a low accuracy bull that can change a lot. If it's high accuracy, it's not going to change a whole lot. And I'll give you a example. So you can use it a lot. So say for instance, we buy a bull with a yearling weight. YW stands for yearling weight, EPD of 70 pounds. Now, what does that mean? The bull has a yearling weight of 70 pounds. And say another bull we're looking at what does that tell us? When we're looking at yearling weight.
Dwayne, we can't hear you when you turn your head away.
All right. If we're looking at two bulls, one with a yearling weight of 70 pounds and one with a yearling weight of 80 pounds, what does that tell us between the two bulls? Okay, we would expect that the bull that has a yearling weaning or a yearling EPD, yearling weight EPD of 80 pounds, we would expect his calves to be 10 pounds heavier than the one with a 70-pound yearling EPD. Does that make sense? So it's a way that we can compare animals. And their EPDs are estimates of how future progeny will perform when mated at random to the average of the breed. So what they're doing, they're comparing these animals to what the breed average is. So when you go to a sale like y'all went to at Red House, those numbers don't mean a whole lot. You know, yearling weight, weaning weight, birth weight, EPDs, you know, everything they have on those EPDs. And they have a whole slew of them. They don't mean anything unless you know what that breed average is. Those breed averages are not zero. And so that makes everything confusing. You know, the breed average for yearling weight EPD may be 60 pounds. So that bull with a 70-pound yearling weight, not that much above average, is it? You know, it all depends what the breed averages change year to year. So you have to be able, you need to know what those breed averages are when you make those comparisons. If you don't know them from the top of your head, and I don't know them. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't sit there and memorize them. I tried when I was a county agent. I tried to memorize what these breed averages were because I was going to bull sales all the time. I had several producers that were in the purebred business. So when they had their production sales, my gosh, I was there. You know, that was my job, to support them. And it was fun. But, man, all those numbers get confusing to me. Luckily for me, old dummy me, most of these sale catalogs have, somewhere in there, if you look, they'll have the breed averages. So that you can use as a reference guide to you, so you can make those comparisons. Now, I was talking about accuracy. That's a measure of risk associated with the EPD, and it's an indication of how much that EPD may change as additional data is collected. The closer that, and they are expressed as a decimal, right? point 0.1, 0.2, or 0.15, 0.8, or 0.95. The closer that gets to 1, the more accurate it is. Okay? So when you're looking at bulls with accuracies for some of their traits, or some of those EPDs in the .9 range, they're not going to change much. They're proven. There's not going to be a wide variation of change. If you're looking at a young bull that hasn't sired any calves, has an accuracy of .1, there could be a lot of change, and it may not be for the good. It could be bad. And we ran into that at Stewart's. Some of these bulls that select sires would buy, just looking at conformation and looking at these EPDs, man, they look phenomenal. But they couldn't do the job. I remember this one guy had a bull he was pushing really hard, and we bred a lot of cows to him. And his calves did not perform. It hurt us financially because we had sorry calves. Everything that he sired was sorry. You could spot them a mile away. And I'm not joking. I'm just being honest with you. They just did not grow like his EPD said they would. That bull was washed out. The good thing was, for us to do that, he bought a bunch of semen from some pretty nice bulls that were pretty, he told Zan, he goes, if you'll breed 50 cows of my bull, I'll buy you 50 straws of whatever semen you want. Well, one of the best cows, the best brood cow sire there was, or at least during that, because the bull named Traveler. And the guy spoke too soon, or he didn't think about what all he was saying. The Traveler had been dead and gone for several years, but his semen was still out there. It was a couple $100 a straw. Dan said, okay, I want Traveler. So, and then we were praying for those cows to all have heifers. But, but his bull did not work out because his accuracy, he just did not perform. It wasn't very good. So anything .4 and below would be low. .4 and between .4 and 8 are moderate. Anything above .8 is going to be pretty high. It's not going to change a lot. And I'm not going to talk about that. This here is pretty profound slide, guys. If you're raising grown cattle and you keep you have a cow herd and you're keeping your replacement heifers. The last 3 bulls that you choose, it's going to come up to be about 87.5% of your genetic.
I have another question.
Okay.
What's a dollar beef?
All right. That is EPD. Is that the Simmental Association uses that one?
I don't know.
It's either Simmental or Angus. And what that EPD is, and I don't know if it's a true EPD. I think what they're trying to do there is, let me see what I can pull up here. See if I can pull up the cell catalog. it will. This is 2012. Let me see if I can figure out how this thing works. Well, it's trying to make it bigger. All right. This is an Angus bull. We see a birth weight, yearling weight, weaning weight. Yearling's SC is scrotal circumference. So scrotal circumference is important for two reasons. All right. What they're doing, they're measuring the circumference of the scrotum. And so sperm production is dependent on testosterone production. So the more testosterone they produce, the more sperm production, right? So the bigger the testes, the more testosterone they produce. So therefore, the more sperm production. The other thing, the other where this comes into play is that research has shown that daughters sired by bulls with larger scrotal circumference reach sexual maturity quicker than those that are bred sired by bulls with a smaller scrotal circumference. So that plays in on both the bull and the cow. So that's kind of important. Yearling frame is 6.7. That's a frame score. That's the height at the shoulders.
6.7 what?
Frame scores rank from 1 to 9, and
Oh, okay.
it's based on inches. So, like a frame score 5 is going to be a certain number of inches. A frame score 6 is going to be a certain number of inches. Your frame score 9, that's going to be your Kia Nina that you're not going to be able to look over the back, and you're going to have to, build your fences a whole lot taller because those crazy things will jump every fence you got. Makes sense.
Yes.
So, I'm thinking this dollar beef. I'm trying to figure out where their EPD deal is, what they're reading. What the best of my collection on here. Crap. I'm wanting to get. He is. This doesn't have dollar. Okay, you have the dollar value here. What? You'll see this bull is an older bull. His accuracy, some of his accuracies are pretty moderate. Some of them are still pretty low. But this is production traits. These are maternal traits, carcass traits, and dollar value. Dollar value, they're going to be looking at carcass traits and production traits. EPDs, they've got EPDs for just about anything you could want anymore. And so when an average person like myself who doesn't constantly keep up with EPDs and look at the latest things going on, I go to look at buying a bull and I see all these numbers and I just get lost. My head starts spinning. Okay? These dollar values are trying to put things in a nutshell that if you use this bull, you're going to be looking at a dollar, Um, these are going to be your dollar figures compared to other bulls. Now I got to figure out what all these numbers are. So I don't know. I know marbling, ribeye area, back fat. I don't know what these are, GRP/PG. But let me see if I can find their grid here. What all these numbers mean. They should have it somewhere. No. It may be usually in the back or the front. So. So what they're doing now, we were talking about finding, we can look at DNA sequencing and come up with these markers or find these markers for certain traits. So they're combining these marker assisted selection with EPDs, and it's increasing their accuracy because they know for certain that young bull carries a certain gene. They can do genetic testing on it. And they can know certain what he carries. And I'm still trying to find this deal for AI. That's a good question. Texas got a different environment. And, with EPDs, we're trying to look at that genetics, trying to take the environmental effects out of it. So, hopefully it wouldn't affect it too much. Affect his progeny or affect him. Other than regional stuff. I think the big thing that we would run into is how tolerant are they to fescue? Because you get out of this area, Missouri has a big issue with fescue problems. But, I think a lot of cattle in Virginia where we have raised our cows and kept back replacements and stuff, I think we've selected cattle that are somewhat tolerant of endophyte problems in the fescue. So, I think if you bring in, sometimes I wonder if, like my neighbor's having trouble with the heat stress this summer in his calves. I'll give you a prime example. It was hot. So a lot of his calves were having trouble with heat stress. Is that due because that, the sire, the genetics wasn't there because of, nothing was based on selection for their ability to withstand fescue. Does that make sense? Is might have, the AI side might have been in Montana and never been around fescue and has no tolerance for that. Does that make sense? And we know fescue, that endophyte affects the ability to handle heat. That was my kind of thinking. All right, so this dollar beef, still trying to find that. I think it's going to come into this economic index. designed to exploit the value and convenience of multi-trait selections. Because in real life, you know, I'm not going to go pick a bull. Very seldom am I going to pick on one character. I'm going to be looking for a well-rounded animal, you know, and you know, it's going to depend on what my situation is. If I've got a bunch of heifers that I'm breeding, I'm going to be looking at calving needs and birth weight with my bull. You know, I may sacrifice some growth rate to get a live calf. Does that make sense? But on my older cows, you know, I'm going to be looking for that all-around package. I want some weaning growth. I want some yearling growth. I want carcass traits. And if I'm keeping back replacements, I'm going to want some maternal character. I may want some maternal traits, depending on where my cows are and stuff like that. And if I've got a lot of milk in my cows, if they're milking real heavy, I'm not going to be too concerned about a lot of maternal traits. It's going to cost me more teeth. But if my cows aren't milking heavy, I'm going to be looking for some traits. But if I have a terminal herd and all my calves are going to be sold and slaughtered, I'm not going to give a hoot about it. I'm going to be looking at yearling weight, carcass traits. So everybody's going to be looking for different things depending on what your production is. Does that help you out any? I can't remember what your name is. Sorry. Sit there beside Trevor. There at Southside, does that answer your questions?
Yes, sir.
Or did it make the water more clear or just make it more muddy?
I mean, it cleared it up, but I just remember them trying to explain it to me and it not really. I mean, it's coming. It's just I didn't really understand it at first.
No, it's not a one-time deal. You know, you got to study it. You know, understand what they are. You know that it's a expected progeny difference. The progeny of that bull is expected to do, you know, when you compare it to another bull. It's that difference that the progeny is expected due to genetics. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
And we've got, you know, like I said, they've got so many of these EPDs out there. It's hard to interpret. And so they've come up with those economic indexes like the dollar B. Try to let you look at that big picture. So what other questions you guys have for me? We want to know about philosophy. Genetics, repro, nutrition, real life stories, Tarzan's horror stories, what not to do. So were y'all there when that bull sold for $200,000?
That was insane,
dude. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it, Dwayne.
I tell you what, I've never watched a bull sell for that much, but I have watched horses sell for that much.
And it was funny because it started at 20, and he started going and nobody bid on it, and so he went back to 10 and nobody bid on it, and then he finally just said, "Come on, y'all know you want this bull," and then it was like 5 or 6 people's hands went up.
I thought about buying it, to be honest.
Yeah. For $10,000. lucked up one time. I think. Well, I know I did. I ended up making money. So I went out to Oklahoma to the Training Horse Security to watch it, and I went to their sales, and I thought, I may get lucky and bring a horse home. But these horses, and there's this one horse, I examined these catalogs before I went out, and I really want to buy this guy. And I didn't think I'd have a snowball's chance to get him. I mean, he was probably the hottest stud out there. The stud fee on his sire was $6,000. He was sired by a horse named Hollywood. And his dam was an own daughter of Dr. Lee. Y'all know anything about quarter horses? Laurel. And I was watching these horses throw. I'd throw my hand up, usually on some starting bids. The next couple bids, and then this horse comes through there, and she sells for about 300. Like he was talking about, it's wild. Even though I was not a player in that, it was fun watching.
It's just a stupid amount of money.
It is. I mean, if I had 300 grand, I sure the heck would put it on a horse, or a bull, or a cow. Not on 8 single horses.
Okay. I was curious.
Well, Dwayne, you remember a couple of semesters ago I told you about a guy that I knew that bought a cow at an auction in Ohio and paid $325,000 for that cow.
Yeah. And the first thing I would do
He did that.
That cow must have been made of gold.
No, it was a hybrid red. If I remember, it was a red Angus, and it had a lot of papers with it and so forth. But he insured it before he ever got out of the pen.
Yeah.
And he was harvested embryos from that thing, and the guy made money on it. But he was a character in a wheeler dealer. I wouldn't say he was real honorable, but that's
yeah, I mean, when the bull pans out, I don't know what his EPDs were, his accuracies, but that guy could be selling semen off him for years. Because once he gets proven, man, they're going to be collecting that bull non-stop and freezing that semen. And I hope he makes money. But anyway, this horse sold for outrageous amounts. Like I said, about 300 grand. And then that horse I was looking at came through. And my nativity, or being naive, I just thought everybody was in shock when I ended up with this horse. But it turned out the horse was, and the guy made, the auctioneer did say he was a cryptorchid. He only tested. So, you're going to have to build him, and it's going to be a surgical procedure. And I knew that. It wasn't no big deal to me. I mean, I had one before that they charged me about $400, and he was a gelding, and nobody knew the difference. And that was the way I looked at it. And so I thought, how come nobody's bidding on him? And I still can't figure that out, because I ended up taking him home. I paid some money for him, but not a whole lot. I mean, I paid, it's cost him $6 grand to get him on the ground. I paid a little bit over half of it. Turned out to be a good horse. I got him broke. got him trained, took him to a show. And I wasn't even intending on showing him. I was just riding him around. They were like, non-horse is an AQHA show. There's non-horses in the class. And a friend of mine came up with, you gonna put that Dunnett horse in there? And I said, no, he's not ready to show. He said, Dwayne, just lope him through the pattern. I'll pay the entry fee because, it'll make it a 2-point class. So I entered him up. And so my buddy that told me to pay the entry fee, he got first on his mare. I got second on Mother Gilman. And then I ended up getting fourth on that Hollywood Dunnett horse. And I didn't even try to win. I just kind of went through there and cruised. I came out of the pen, and this guy said, is that a son of Hollywood Dunnett? And I said, yeah. He said, what's his bottom side? And I told him. He said, pricing. I did. And, I didn't want it to be said there were 2 fools left. So I priced my horse, and he took him home. And I went to the bank. That'll never happen to me again, folks. That's probably a once-in-a-lifetime deal. I got the story to tell. I've heard of it happening before, but it never happened to me until then. We're out of time, so Thursday we'll go over that problem.
I have a question to you.
That problem.
When we take the final exam for this class, it's supposed to be in classroom time or LRC.
Probably we'll let you know on Thursday.
Okay.
I gotta do a little, my goal is not to pile the exams up on you guys.
Okay.
So if you've got, I know the folks who've got the plant class and the animal class, they're scheduled to be back to back, and then some of the other classes of that afternoon. So I don't want to pile them up on you.
Okay.
So we'll work that out so it doesn't create a crisis.
John, we'll be here tomorrow.
I will.
Hey, John, business, do you still 13, 14, 15, 16? Okay.
Do the homework and then
Okay.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Yeah. That's 30 points, 40 points.
Okay. All right, I just didn't understand with the email.
I understand that.
Okay.
I have a question. You know how that one time financial aid wouldn't cover it? Did you ever get that?
Yeah, it's been in, yeah. Yeah,
Thank
it
you.
should be good to go. Yeah, I'm trying to get, that's top of my list. Get that done.
Yeah.
And then I'll do the other stuff. Mm-hmm.
Because more babies get out there and give themselves cruises. Those accuracies go up. Go down. Same thing with that horse. I had that high-bred horse. Unless I really promote it. Because I think it is. So, get him out there, get him promoted. Again, I would send this out. I would not do this. There's too many. So, wait a minute. Now, you had a proven producer, really interested. That makes sense. It's like JJ. So this is my price. You don't agree with it. I came to world freedom love. World freedom love. World freedom love. Like JJ. I would shoot stud I got going now. Just guide them. Big, you know, I don't know. I understand where they're coming from, but at the same time, hey, all that guy was real right. I don't know. I'm about the money. Pay it, but many people. So many people that I tell you what I like. You know, can't beat them. Their thing is. Good. That was going to tell you I need. All right. All right. So, I know what you know now. I know it's beyond your